Bonjour.
No, yeah. Bonjour, Space Lizard.
Bonjour, bonjour. All good?
Yes, you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You're not too
Um,
sad about the end of Walking Dead?
do you know what? I was I was sort of anxious about the end of Walking Dead
Hmm.
because of how season 11 has been.
Yeah, yeah,
It has been the weakest of the seasons, I think. It was just too long and stretched out. I think if because it's 24 episodes long, I think if they condensed it into 16, it would have been better. But I think the main issue with the season is it's not the Walking Dead that we know and love. We're in a it's almost like they've been re-entered into the world again. And that's why it feels different. They've been thrown back into the real world when we're used to seeing them in the Walking Dead world. And they've been thrown into the real world almost. And it's only until they start to sense that there's something not quite right. And, that's when it starts to ramp up. I mean, from sort of about episode 17 onwards, it ramps up and it gets better and better. And it feels like Walking Dead of old. The only thing I can say is that this season, they've very much been, as opposed to other seasons, they've been quite protective of their characters. There was no real major character deaths until the finale, which again, the finale, yeah, it lived up to what I was hoping it would be. Um, is it the finale I would have done? Most of it, yeah, most of it. I think the only thing I can say about the finale is obviously we'll talk about a certain individual's death because I think that got both of us. The other two characters that died at the beginning, they weren't really main characters. I would like to have seen someone like Gabriel or Carol go, um, just to add that weight to it and a bit more of a fight. Because over all the years, we've seen hordes and hordes of zombies and them lot fight everyone. For the finale, you kind of want to go out in a bit of a blaze of glory. You want it to be a real, right, let's have it, the biggest battle zombie horde that we've ever had, the biggest battle we've ever had, and then you blow them all up, and then you go into the emotional side of it, which is what this episode did. But saying that, I did thoroughly enjoy the episode. I do think it was a fitting send off. I think it caught me off guard. I was expecting the spectacle, and then we got the emotion, and that emotion really did throw me off guard.
yeah. And Angela Kang done well there.
Yeah, she smashed it. She smashed it. I mean, that the moment, and we will. There's going to be spoilers in this. When Rosita is sitting there looking at her baby, and she reveals to Eugene,
Eugene goes, yeah,
"Oh, mate, that choked me up.
yeah.
That choked,
It got me.
yeah, proper choked me up."
It isn't often
And
I get caught, but yeah, definitely.
it was filmed beautifully. And then when they have their celebration dinner, and she sits at the side and she whispers into Gabriel's ear, "You know what she said. You don't need to hear it. You know what she said." And they all go and visit her in the bed, and they take the baby away. And oh, mate, that proper got me. The whole thing.
It was a slow death.
Yeah,
The way they did
yeah,
it was it was a slow death, but yeah, very, very nicely done. I thought I agree with you. I think it was a fitting end.
yeah. And I mean, as well, I don't think you realise how long Rosita's been in it since like season 4.
Yeah, I thought it was earlier than that actually.
Yeah, about season 4. She comes along with Abraham. She arrives with Abraham and Eugene, and there's someone else that she arrives with.
Um,
Uh, I
Abraham,
can't remember. Abraham, Eugene, and
um,
there was the girl that was put in the coffin by Negan. Oh, I can't remember what her name was. There's so many characters. We're gonna have this issue quite a lot
yeah,
tonight.
I can't, but yeah, yeah, Eugene Abraham, her,
And there was another female.
yeah,
But she's been in it a while, man. I
hey,
mean, what's that?
that's going way back.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, there was so many nice little scenes as well. Like the Rosita death's definitely a standout.
Oh,
I was surprised how much that caught me. Um, Daryl's goodbye was nice with Carol and the little "I love you" sort of exchange.
when he
Like one,
said, "I love you," and I think he says it as in "I love you."
Yeah.
She, as in, yeah, I love you, babe. And she says it back to him in a sisterly way.
Yes.
And I just thought it was
It was
so
just
nicely done.
it
It
was
was,
just a great dynamic.
you know, because you got to be careful when you quietly send up a series off or end a story quietly. You've got to be careful. You know,
Yeah.
the easiest thing to do to end a story is for the Death Star to blow up at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from storytellers that end a story in that fashion. I'm not taking anything away from that. What I am saying is the delicate touch you need.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. You have to,
and
but
Terra and all
but
that was involved.
but it was weird that
It was midpoint when they had the explosion with all the zombies and everything going off. Because I was thinking, oh wow, surely, because I was kind of rolling my eyes a bit. I thought, oh, we can't have like half the episode is an epilogue,
mm,
but they done it.
yeah.
They done it well. It was an epilogue, but it was a fine one. It was a good one, like you say, Rosita's death and all the rest of it.
Yeah. There was some. It was just nice character moments, and I think actually looking back on The Walking Dead as a whole, which we'll be going through, so tune in because this is going to be a long one, mate. Because we've got a lot to go through.
Yeah.
Um, it brings it back to the heart of The Walking Dead is what it's all about, and I think that's what's kept it going for so long. It is okay. There's zombies. Zombies are cool. If you like zombies, even if you don't like zombies, what it comes back down to is characters, and the heart of it is the emotion in the characters. And when you've got good characters, you're going to stick with it, even if you're not massive zombie fans. If you like the characters, you're going to be sticking with it.
Yeah.
And I think again, so like Daryl's goodbye was a real nice standout scene. Maggie and Negan as well. I really enjoyed that scene when she basically says, "I can't forgive you."
That was intense. And
That was nice, and how they hang on Negan just afterwards, and you see him about to tear up, but you
yeah,
don't actually see it. It's just nicely done in a mature way.
and there was no right and wrong.
No,
They were both two people just explaining where they were.
yeah, yeah. I
Where
mean, I, I,
and there was
I mean, I mean, look at it from Maggie's point of view. Could no matter how much good Negan has done, how could you ever forgive him for what he did to Glenn?
yeah. Well, it's like old soldiers that come back from war. They will never forgive. You know, British soldiers. There will be a certain generation of British men or American men, you know, allied servicemen that will never forgive
No,
the
no,
Germans.
you can't,
They did
and you can't.
the Sigma War. But what they went through, you've got to understand it. But nevertheless, they're the ones that are willing to go to the old uh, funeral places, what's it, the gravesides in
Yeah,
France and etc., and meet old German veterans because
yes,
they were both put in that position by circumstance.
yeah.
And it's just, you know, I know I'm waffling on a bit, but it's that same thing. But no, that was a very well handled. And again, it's low level stuff.
And as well
Low level
with
stuff. Deep.
with Negan, with Negan, he's if you was to ask me what would I rather see more of, Negan of old or Negan now, I would say hands down Negan of old. I thought he was amazing when he was bad and when he was horrible. It's just some of the one-liners he came with, like when he was in the pantry and when he goes to Alexandria, he's in the pantry and you got the more rounder lady looking after the food, and
Mhm.
she's saying there's a short supply, and he literally looks at us like, really, like
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
like you've left the fat one in charge of all the
Got that.
food. Well done,
Yeah,
yeah, well done. And, like little bits like that and like when he gets Carl to show him his eye, he's like, "Come on, show me." And when he shows me, he goes, "Good God, that's fucked up, damn," like that. And he sort of go like some of these one-liners were awesome. But saying that, I do like the transformation arc that they've done. It's been very easy for them to, if they really wanted to redeem Negan, to almost go, he went on like a psychotic state. He was in a, he sees red, he's psychotic state, he's almost schizophrenic. The fact they didn't go down that road makes it so much more depth to that character, because that Negan isn't dead, that Negan isn't gone, that Negan is still there. He's just trying to grow and move away from it. And I think out of the lockdown episodes, the Here's Negan one, out of those lockdown episodes, the Here's Negan one was the most interesting one, with his wife, and how you see how he loses his wife, and when he first sees Red, and how he first sort of, you get that glimmer of Negan and what he becomes and what sends him down that road. And I think that was a nice little touch, because you see how he goes down that road, you see him on that road, and then you see him coming back. But no matter what he's done, he still can't be forgiven. He's got to live with that. So I do think that that scene was powerful on both fronts, because it was powerful for Negan's character, but it was also powerful for Maggie. Actually, you know, just saying, well, no matter what you do, no, sometimes I can't look at you. I will not forgive you. It's a scene it's intelligently done, that takes into consideration everything that's happened before, and stays true to each character.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very powerful scene. And then we've got to talk about it, man, Rick. So how they did that.
There was enough nostalgia, mate, at the end of this series, with the narration at the beginning of each episode.
Yeah.
From what's her name? And
Judith.
Yeah, from Judith. But it worked for me.
Yeah, it worked for me as well.
Nostalgia bait is normally used in a very derogatory fashion.
Yeah.
It reminded you of how far.
Yeah.
Like what a journey. And I know, and that's another overused word in reality TV world now. But
yeah,
it has been a journey, and all the
yeah,
that have been lost along the way, and all the stories that the guys and girls have told along the way for all these different characters.
Yeah.
And then to kind of bring it all the way back.
Yeah.
It's like some of the scenes in the hospital in the last episodes. I was thinking, wow, this is where we started.
Yeah.
We started in the hospital.
Yeah.
We're going to end like that was what was resonating with me with Judith in the hospital and Daryl when he was the old blood transfusion. I was thinking, oh wow, this is where we started with your dad in the hospital, waking up, didn't know where he is, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And again, you know, just going back to how nicely, very
yeah,
done.
And when we do finally see Rick and Michonne, how they do it with their little narrations of them writing letters to Judith,
writing like memoirs kind of thing.
Yeah. But as we're doing it, we're seeing again all the characters that we've lost. People that, and I said it to you earlier in the week. I totally forgot about Dale. He was a great character. There's so many characters over the years that you've forgotten about that have been really good, like Herschel, like the old man Herschel. Like, he was a great character. Yeah, I mean, and looking back on it, some of the farm stuff in season 2 was some of my favorite stuff of the whole lot.
Yeah, that was a seminal series.
That was an awesome follow-up series to the first.
That really did set it. I think series 2 set up the epic scale of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as well, because we watched it in 2 totally different ways. Yeah. So you've watched it from day one all the way through, as it's come out, whereas I started watching it. It was one of those things that I've always heard about, and I was like, oh, I need to get around to watching that. And then the first series comes and goes, then series 2 comes out. Oh, I need to get around to watching that. And then you never get around to it. So there's always something else, or there's something going on. Next thing you know, you're 8 seasons in.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. And it's a bit of a task now to watch it.
Yeah.
And I started watching it before series 10 came out. So I watched it all the way through from beginning to end, probably over the space of about 3 months. So I watched it back to back from beginning to end, and I'm glad I did, because if I had to wait,
I remember that you was catching hardcore.
Yeah, because if I had to wait a year for the end of season 6 when Negan's got them all lined up, to the first episode of season 7 to reveal. If I had to wait that long, I think I would have driven myself insane. I remember it was late at night that night, and I was so tired, and I was about to nod off, and then it finishes with that, and I was like, I'm carrying on. I was awake. I was on the edge of my seat, engaged. I was like, I'm powering through. I'm powering through. I can't not carry on with this.
That was back
And
in
then,
the day as well when I used to watch Talking Dead
yes,
every week after. I've missed that recently. As soon as it's gone to Dismal,
I don't even know if they do it still. I don't.
I don't know if they do or not. I don't think they've done it. I think post pandemic, I don't think they've done it because of how it's been.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that is. All I'm saying is I missed it because every
yeah,
when it had Talking, that was just as important for me. But the one thing I would say is the last time they did do it, the last season they did do of it, you could tell that the quality of guests
yeah,
was going right downhill.
yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but it was really going downhill, and it was a bit of a struggle. It was a bit of a fast forward, you know.
So, so I watched season 10 as it came out, and I've watched season 11 as it's come out. And in those gaps, I also did Fear the Walking Dead, and I've done Well Beyond as well, which we'll talk about later. The one last thing, I think it's the unsung sort of thing about the finale, was the actress that plays Pamela, the governor of the Commonwealth. I hated her all the way through, But it was only until the finale I kind of appreciated her. I appreciated the fact that I hate her. It's because I just in my head I hate her. I think she's a twat. I just want her to die the most gruesome, most horriblest way possible.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want her torn apart. You know, when the zombies dig their hands into the stomach and just rip them apart into 1,000 pieces, pull the intestines out, do whatever, just make it gruesome as possible. But then I don't know what it's an obvious thing, but it just clicked in my head. It takes a lot of talent as an actress to make people hate you like that.
Yeah. She's not a bad actress. I just didn't really care for any of that storyline. It was too much on the nose.
And it was interesting because that storyline,
where we're going to go back to how we used to live, back to how the world used to be.
yeah, and that was how sort of the storyline differed in the comics, but the comics were ended with the Commonwealth arc. So it's the same as this. It ended with the Commonwealth arc. So they've sort of gone through. If you look at the major arcs, and we'll sort of go into a few little bits and the differences, but overall, from the farm to the prison to the governor, to Negan and the Saviors, to the Whisperers, to the Commonwealth, the overall arcs throughout the series and the novels follow the same path. So they're in the same order. So that's why it sort of comes to this. And it is an intriguing idea, you know, after living in the wilderness in this new crazy world, and all of a sudden being thrust back in. I think if you do it intelligently and you make it more concise, there are aspects to that would be very intriguing. But I think where it was a bit on the nose, like you say, I think it just didn't quite hit its mark. And I know it wasn't a popular thing within the comics either.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It wasn't overly popular. It wasn't overly popular within the comics. And then the other thing as well, them variants, man, they freaked me out. The one that climbed up the fucking wall.
And I thought that was going to be their way of adding tension to the ending.
Yeah.
Variants do things that, you know, so they might have blown everyone up like halfway through that last episode. Might have been variants that had escaped, that had ducked for cover or something.
Yeah.
That's how I thought they may have done it. But nevertheless, I'm not saying I was disappointed that they didn't do that, but it seemed like they brought the variants along, which was great.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them moving forward.
It's evolution. At the end of the day, it's evolution. It's a bit like, I don't know what series it was where they were showing more emancipated zombies.
Yeah.
And they only kind of done it as an aside, and they mentioned one of the characters kind of says, well, yeah, they're running out of food, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Slowing down.
Mm.
And I think that was something in the comics that what's his name who wrote it?
Kirkman, Robert Kirkman.
That's something that Kirkman was quite interested in, was the evolution of the zombies, like year after year after year, like all the different aspects that they would, like all the different things they would go through. When you, the more you think about it, the more you extrapolate the whole idea.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, as well, with
Like zombies, each series you would have, like, I don't know, zombies that were buried in sand, like when the apocalypse happened, or zombies that were drowning, or whatever it was, you know, waterborne.
Yeah, the variety of, so like there's one that's like basically stuck in the mud, and it's almost like got moss and stuff growing out. Like there's,
and
what I like about Walking Dead is it's almost transformed the zombie genre. Like beforehand, you had all the George A. Romero stuff. You had, you know, something as stupid as Shaun the Dead to 28 Days Later, all that sort of stuff. But nothing's hit and taken the zombie genre to that new high, like Walking Dead has done.
Series 4, the viewing figures. I don't know if it was 3 or 4, where the viewing figures were going up from series 1. And it was the most popular syndicated TV show of all time. I don't know what series it was.
And I mean, yeah, it's probably around about season 3 or 4. But just comparing it to, I mean, so the first season was 6 episodes, then in season 2 was 13. Then everything else after that, apart from 10 and 11, was 16 episodes. 10 was 22, season 11 was 24. But that's 16 episodes each season. And how many seasons had a bad episode? Not much. Even the bad ones still had a story. It might not have been your favorite. It might be following a character that you don't necessarily like or want to follow that much.
Yeah,
but they,
filler.
Yeah, it was more of a filler, a bit of world building, a bit of like the development in the overall plot.
There should never be a filler episode. But
even there,
but
even those filler episodes were head and tails above anything else that was out at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, big time.
You know, and I would say season 11 as an overview, there was a lot of issues with it. There was a lot of issues with it, but that part C of the season, the final batch of episodes, so they released it in 3 stages. That final batch really did bring it. It's almost like they farmed it out to some random people for the first 16 episodes.
Yes.
And then the originals came back to do that last section.
Yeah. All the stick that that Game of Thrones had got, and Rings of Power was getting, and it's almost like they thought, no, we can't end this series in a way that doesn't satisfy the fans. I know there's only a few left, you know, because obviously they hit the glory heights of, you know, series 3, 4, 5. But they did bring back the old guard. You can see post-pandemic those episodes.
Oh, they weren't great. They weren't great. But I mean, they had the their viewing figures went up again. So it sort of went to the high of season 4. Then season 5 it went down a bit. Season 6 it started to go down. Then 7 and 8 and the beginning of 9 it went up. And then the main thing, and it's a common thing that a lot of people say, when Rick went, that's when a lot of people turned off.
Yeah.
And I get it because he's your main guy, but it's an ensemble cast. You've got characters like Daryl and, you know, there's a lot of characters there to follow. And I get it. Rick's the main guy. He's gone.
Really crap. Once Rick went, I would understand. But just Rick going means you don't watch it no more. I don't get.
No, I don't, because you'd have missed all the Whisperer stuff.
If the viewership, what was the series that Rick went? The end of
No, Rick went in episode 5 of series 9.
Right. So if you see that decline, like slowly, because it was getting crap, other than that drop, like people just dropped it, including, you know, my own son, who watched it from more or less day one with me, just went, oh, Rick's not here now, I ain't going to watch it. And I thought, well, no, come on, that's stupid. It's just, oh, it's not the same. Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yeah, exactly.
On that note, what I will say is Rick as a character was exceptional.
Yes.
You know, I've got a thing about this, about with genre, where everything's being grounded. I think this conversation's particularly over Batman, and bear with me, where you ground a character so much that it is no longer exceptional. So watching it,
yeah, 100%. And
it's going to be a detective dressed up stupidly.
And Rick's not perfect.
Rick was an exceptional character. And what it was, the gap he left, yeah, you've got Daryl. Yes, you've got Carol. Yes, you've got Michonne. Yes, you've got Maggie. Yes, you've got Negan. Right. They're all exceptional characters, but it then needed, like Rick did leave a bigger hole that none of them kind of stepped into, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And all their parts.
It became an ensemble. It became an ensemble instead of having a lead. Yeah. That lead was replaced with the ensemble. But what I like about Rick was the depth of Rick. And I want to talk about a particular moment with Rick, which I really think was just shows that character and what he is capable of. Sure. And that is when he massacred the Saviors in their sleep as a preemptive strike.
Yeah,
because Rick will do anything for his families.
Look what you did to us.
Yeah, 100%.
The flip side of it, like, well, what makes you think you're the good guys?
Exactly, that morality and making you question.
You massacred my people in sleep. Yeah, that was great stuff.
Yeah, and for me, that was really powerful because it makes you think, well, you know they're coming, you know what they're going to do to you. Do we wait for it to happen and risk our people being hurt, or do we do that preemptive strike now and do something absolutely unimaginable and barbaric and brutal and horrible? But by doing that, we save our characters, the morality of that, and it makes you think, what would you do? You try and put yourself in that situation.
Character was doing, wasn't it? It was asking you, the audience member, specifically, what would you do? Every single time
he made a decision. And that is why Rick was exceptional. And that's why I wanted to mention that moment, because that moment always stuck with me. And I was always, what would I do in that situation? I think that's what ties fans to Rick, and I think that's why fans love Rick.
I'll tell you my best Rick moment.
Go on.
I don't know what series it was, but it's after Laurie dies.
Yeah.
I was there, fantastically done.
Yes.
Such a fantastic, in the prison, fantastically done. And Maggie, it's Maggie holding the baby, Judith.
Yeah.
With Carl.
Yeah.
Coming out, and that moment, and Rick sees Laurie's not there.
Yeah. And I remember that.
And it's more or less, from what I can remember, and I'm even getting little goosebumps now, it's 95% unspoken.
Yeah.
Where Rick is just going, no.
Yeah.
Maggie is going, oh, sorry, mate. But with no dialogue.
Yeah.
And then he's on the floor.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely
beautiful.
Mortified. Now that is a scene. But you see all the other characters. Even Daryl was there with his head down. And up until that point, you know, he's been like the maverick character and all that.
Yeah.
It cuts through the whole humanity. the pure human emotion that cuts through it all. And again, like you just said, is what brought you to Rick.
Yeah, it was the same when Carl went as well.
Been through so much.
Mm.
You know, how much can you lose before you become a Negan
Yeah.
or a governor? You know, the
Mm.
governor lost. The governor, Negan, Rick, they'd all lost more or less all the same, but they all come out slightly different.
Yeah.
That's what made it.
Yeah, 100%. And it
Made it a good mix, and the storylines around them.
yeah.
That's what made it mix.
Uh,
The zombie of the week is fine. It's genre, and you want a bit of that, and that
yeah.
brings you the tension or whatever it is, and
And it never gets old, does it? Like, because they always found new imaginative ways to kill a zombie.
I used to like that, the zombie of the week. You know,
Yeah, just always a new imaginative way to kill a zombie.
yeah.
It was quality. But to be fair, another powerful Rick moment comes from Carl. So when Carl reveals that he's been bit, and we know Carl's going to die. Now, for me, I was never a fan of Carl. I did not like that character at all. I thought, especially early on, I thought, okay, he's just a bit of a kid. He's a bit stupid, but he just got on my nerves after a while.
Mm.
But I bared with him because of what he meant to Rick. And funny enough, as I was watching it, because I did watch it in one long go, I think Carl went in season 8, and probably was about season 7. It was when it was season 7 actually. It's the Negan episode when he kills Glenn and Abraham, when he takes Rick on that road trip, and then he's going to cut Carl's hand off at the end. He tries to get Rick to cut his hand off. And that's when I realized, if Carl, because I've been wanting him to die, and I thought, if Carl dies, what is this going to mean for Rick? What's that going to do to him? Because that's the last thing he's really got. Okay, he's got a little relationship with Michonne. He's got his little baby Judith, but Carl has been there with him since the beginning. It's the last real attachment he's got.
Yeah.
And we've already seen that dark side to Rick when he's like killing the saviors and all that sort of stuff. If he loses Carl, that will send him down a very dark path. And then lo and behold, a season later, I wanted Carl to die. And then when he revealed that he'd been bit, it's mad how they make you care about characters you don't even like. Because I literally was like, no, I don't want him to go now. I went 8 seasons hating Carl, and the moment he revealed that he got bit, I was like, oh no, there's got to be a way. We can't let Carl die. And I was dreading it. And then when the moment comes and you see Rick's reaction and how he is, there was a couple of episodes afterwards, and I was thinking he's going to go here, but he never did. And he used Carl to sort of give him the power to go on and fight Negan and beat the saviors.
That
And
was
again,
a moment.
it's lovely.
Till when he tells Negan, Carl.
Yeah.
That was just nicely done. It was wasn't as poignant or anything but it was different.
Mm. And Negan's reaction to it.
Yeah, it was just different. It was just unexpected.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah, Negan's reaction to it as well.
Yeah.
Because it showed that Negan's got layers.
How did he go? Yeah, I think it was Rick that said, I was saving others. They was on the or something, they saving people. He went like, it's just very nicely done.
Very nice. So, overview. Your Walking Dead journey. So obviously you've done it throughout the years. What was your more powerful seasons? What was your best arcs out of it all?
Best arcs. I think it was the Herschel and the prison scenes. It was when Maggie come along.
Yeah.
And her family and that, and Rick doing away with Shane. You know, when it was all kicking off. I think it was on the 2.
What, on the farm?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the farm.
And Herschel, and you've got Carl. I think Carl's been shot, and he with a deer.
Yeah.
And from there, for me, they were the most powerful, emotive episodes. And then from there, where they have to go from the farm to the prison.
Yeah.
That introduces the governor, wasn't it?
Yes.
Turning up in the tanks.
Yeah. because you had Andrea as well that was part of the group. Then she ends up siding with the governor, and then she comes back, and then she dies. There was some good shit there.
No, just loads of, and it was all, and also it wasn't part of the setup.
Mm.
It had been done, and they was using the setup to the perfect effect. And
Yeah.
how long it was going to last, I know the comics had already been done. So I think that was a perfect storm of what they'd experimented with in the comics and what they were working out would work in live action.
Yes.
Everything. And I know you've done some deep dive into the comic stuff, but isn't everything that works in a comic works in live action?
No.
And when you've got characters that, and I know they decided from day one that they wouldn't, that they decided that the fans of the comics that have brought them here, that have brought everyone here
Yeah.
To be watching it in live action, to reward the fans of the comics, they said, look, it isn't going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, and I like that, man.
We're going to have certain characters live that didn't in the comics, and vice versa, and blah blah.
Because there's always that debate, isn't there? There's always that debate of like it's almost two exact opposites. Like Sandman, that I know I've never really watched it, but I've watched your videos on it.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, it's a literal translation from the comics. And we always moan about Marvel and DC. Just follow the source material. Just follow the source material.
Or you follow it, but don't be dictated by it.
Exactly. And Walking Dead finds that perfect balance. I mean, I've got a list. I've got a list right here of all the different
characters, and I know you've got your list, but there were certain characters that I know, like one of them, where we was speaking over the past weeks and that since it's finished, that I know there's characters in the comics may have been killed off early, but the actor or actress that they got playing the roles,
yeah,
I reckon that they was all thinking to themselves collectively, we can't kill these characters off there because there's something there, this interaction, this chemistry we've got.
Yeah.
In those first, I would say those first 3 seasons particularly, with some of the characters who they decided not to kill off and who they did kill off.
Yeah.
It was based upon the actor portraying each particular character and how they interacted with all the others, because I know Carol's one of them.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful character, what a great actress.
Brilliant.
Superb.
So Carol, in the comics, Carol
all the way through, and there's like, she dies in the series.
Carol died in the prison in the comics.
Lovely. Yeah.
How mad's that?
Yeah, and it probably, well, it obviously works in the comics because I'm saying it obviously works. I haven't.
And interestingly enough, so Carol died early in the prison arc, but her daughter Sophia survives all the way through.
Yeah, and what a scene.
Now, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So that change, and I think that's an important point to know, that change where, okay, we're going to kill Sophia off, and how they did that when she'd been missing most of the season, and then she comes out of that.
And I didn't see that coming,
No, and that
even when the barn doors open, I still didn't see that coming.
No, I didn't. I didn't see
that
coming.
When you look back on it, and our kind of media progresses, and our development, how our perception of it all kind of increases. But back then, there was no zombie series. All I'd seen for Walking Dead episode 1 was, maybe 28 days later and 20 weeks after, or whatever they were all called, was an I Am Legend with running zombie. They was kind of playing with it. Then Walking Dead, like I'm thinking, wow, they're going to make a series out of zombies. How are they going to do this? I was properly intrigued. I didn't have any.
But how they did that scene, as well, when all the other zombies come out first, and then it holds, and then she just comes out, and it's that realization
Oh
that
my
it's
God, do they take their time? If you watch that scene again, my God, they take their time and they show every character in that scene's reaction. And
yeah,
who is going to do it?
yeah,
We all know what needs to be done. We all know.
yeah.
Carol's on her knees, and I think is it Daryl that's giving her a hug? And this is really early on.
And that's almost the first sort of substantiated part of their relationship.
Yeah,
because that moment onwards, that's when they're very close.
Yeah, that was just a great. It was a beautiful. And is it not Daryl? Who is it, or was it Rick that sorted out the abusive husband in the
Rick. I think it was Rick. I think it was Rick.
Where they kind of find out slowly. That was just a thread through the episodes, wasn't it? It wasn't an important part of it. It was obviously important for Carol. Wow, what a
absolutely smashed it. I mean,
guys in the comics in the prison, and I know you've done some research. So what other?
So with the comics, so
illuminate me.
So Rick,
so the comics shot.
So so this is the one time I know more about the comics than you.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm going to indulge in this moment.
Be quick. I'm just going to spin round on my chair and just pretend I'm interested.
So the CRM don't exist in the comics. So that's the lot that took Rick. Rick never leaves. He's the one that becomes the leader of the Commonwealth. Then he gets murdered in his sleep, and then Carl has to kill him. So also Carl never dies. Daryl doesn't.
Spoilers for comics and the series.
Massive spoilers, man.
Now, so I better write this down.
Daryl doesn't exist at all. He's not a character. He doesn't exist.
Shit, I never knew that.
It's mad, isn't it?
I don't know how to edit this video to claim that I found that out. Do this. Yeah, I'm not enjoying this now.
Laurie, she never dies in childbirth.
Right.
She's killed in the prison attack along with Judith.
Oh wow! So he loses both. Rick loses Judith and
yeah. Andrea.
Yeah.
She survives and ends up with Rick all the way through to the end. She never gets killed off. Carol died in the prison arc as well. Negan in the comics only killed Glenn. So that classic scene, he never killed Abraham. And that's why they did it, to give you something new, which was, again, really good. Morgan, Lenny James's character, he dies early on. He dies very early on.
Well, they killed him.
Yeah, he dies very early on.
That what resonates in the series, like Morgan's character.
Yeah. So Morgan's slow. So Morgan in the comics goes crazy like he does in the show, but he gets with Michonne, so he starts dating Michonne, and Michonne helps him come back round and back to who he is. And just as that happens, he gets killed off. Which I just think's insane, but also good point.
Scene where he's got the sniper rifle.
Yes.
I've just remembered this now.
In that little town, and he's booby trapped all.
And he sees his wife in the crosshairs. And all they've done is explain it. I can't quite remember how they do it. And
that's very early, you know.
They show it in a flashback. But we know that crosshair is dancing around.
Yeah.
And we all know as an audience collectively, fuck, that's his wife that he's been talking about. That's the mother of the child that he's with him.
Yeah.
That he's been trying. Oh.
Then on top of that, he loses his fucking son as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another great scene. That's another standout scene that I've forgotten about, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sophia, as I said it already, Sophia never died.
Yeah.
In the comics, I think she ended up with Carl, if I remember rightly. In the comics, so neither of them died. They both, and it's almost like they were the next generation.
Yeah.
So at the end, they were. So once Rick died and all that, at the very end of the comics, they were the two that were to take over.
They were the future of the human race.
Yeah, exactly. Rick in the comics loses his hand.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
He loses his hand. So the governor cuts his hand off in the comics. And the reason they didn't do that in The Walking Dead, and the writers have defended this, the reason they didn't do that was because any time Rick's hand was on scene, it would be way too expensive to CGI it out.
Yeah, I get that as well. It complicates it. It complicates everything.
But they done it with other characters. So they done it with
Yeah,
the
I
guy
mean,
from
the other bloke, didn't they? With the
yeah, yeah.
which works all right, and also it it becomes an overused. There's two things that they just about managed to avoid for me: the conceits, which is putting entrails over a wetsuit
Yeah,
and pretending you're a zombie.
yeah.
They overused that. You could have done that every week.
Yeah.
Away with it just to escape. Just let's let's just get some entrails on us and go like that. We can get away with it. And the other one is every time someone gets bitten, I'll just chop the limb off, and you're all right.
And I mean,
You know,
to be fair though, that
we'll put a tourniquet on it, and you'll scream. But you think
be,
two seats, if they overuse that, would make everything so boring.
but as well, how they do it when they do put the in,
didn't, so that's good.
how they do it when they do put the entrails on them, and like imagine that.
First time they did that,
Imagine that
I
if
think
you
was it the end of a series when they first did that?
I believe that was very early on. I think that was even in series one.
No,
No, it was very early on they did that. Rick and Glenn do it very early on.
yeah, I may have been two. I think I would have thought.
Yeah, it was very early.
Early. What I'm saying is they didn't overuse it
No, and
because they.
but just put yourself in the character's shoes.
I
Just
mean,
put yourself in the character's shoes.
I would have had a Macintosh with entrails on it ready on the coat.
but
I would have had one ready with
how much would you have been shitting yourself in the middle of those zombies?
I would have had a curl of intestines around my face to make myself.
Right, the last thing that I've from the comics that's a major change was, remember the end of series 9 when Alpha puts the heads on the spike?
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was very good. The characters, I don't remember all the names, but the characters in the comics that ended up on the spikes were pretty much, apart from 2, all different.
Oh, wow.
So the 2 most notable characters that end up with their heads on the spike in the comics, can you guess?
No.
Ezekiel and Rosita.
Oh, wow.
So again, good shouts. They didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one character we haven't mentioned so far, and I think it's probably the one character that is definitely underappreciated, and I think has had the biggest change and almost the biggest character arc in some ways, was Gabriel.
Yeah.
Remember when we first met him, he was the coward that locked out his flock. You know, he'd lost all his flock. He was a right little coward. What he's become, and he is a creepy motherfucker, but what he's become is such an awesome fucking character.
I think the same with Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene's cool.
Lie. There was that lie that he had to admit to, and in the finale,
Yeah,
or in those final episodes, where he was kind of confronting it again.
yeah.
But they were reminding us that
He weren't always that way.
he started. You know, he's
Yeah.
still trying to redeem himself.
Yeah,
But it made sense that I think it was those episodes where he was going, I ain't leaving till I've found me my until I've rescued my bird. Oh,
yeah.
I ain't leaving. But it resonated all the way back through all of those series to where he started. And I tell you what, I did enjoy Eugene's arc. is that scene where the saviours are all on the hilltop.
Yeah, and he's done all the bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all ready. And I'd say that was another moment that I just did not see coming. You know, when we all say that, oh, yeah, I could see that coming, and oh, yeah, I knew that twist and all that.
Yeah.
And I know they dropped the clues, didn't they, in that series?
Yeah.
Where Eugene, you know, and there's all the manipulation and stuff. But fuck, when they all started to blow, but you don't quite get it when it first starts happening, because they make it look like, I don't know who directed that episode, actually. I don't know if it was Nicotero.
I don't know.
But when you start seeing the pops go off, you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's a massacre. Until they do some nice close-ups. And you're seeing the gun, like, fuck, like, and the hands getting, and
Yeah.
faces and all the rest of it. And he gets it as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Negan.
Yeah, he gets a slice on the throat, doesn't he? And I mean, to be fair, out of the Saviour's arc, the one character I did like in the Saviour's arc was actually Dwight.
Was that the bloke with a big moustache?
No, Dwight was the one with the burnt face. He's in Fear the Walking Dead now. He's got his wife Cherie. He's got the burn all down one side of his face. Negan burnt him and then took his wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's actually in Fear the Walking Dead now. And so Cherie. But I liked his arc as well, because even though he was an arsehole and he weren't that, you know, he seemed a bit of a snaky sort of character. You think what Negan did to him? Negan basically burnt his face, took his wife as his own, and now he's got to serve Negan, and he's got to see Negan fuck his wife. It's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, Negan wasn't a bloke, was he?
No, he wasn't, but he was fucking awesome. He was such a good character. On terms of before we go into our favourites section, fuck it, let's go for it. Favourite character. Favourite characters.
Apart from the obvious.
Apart from the obvious. So obvious for me would be Negan. That's an obvious one. I'm not going to use Negan. What's your favourite character?
Abraham.
Abraham.
Yeah.
His one-liners were quality, weren't they?
Oh, fuck.
There's so many one-liners he did. And the worst thing is I can't remember.
Why are dingleberries brown? It's the way shit is.
Yeah.
Bitch nuts. Bitch nuts. Loose ends make my arse itch. Look, he was great. In a way, when Nick does him and Glenn, I was a bit more, maybe a tad more gutted about Abraham. Because he did give us a little bit of light in the darkness of it all.
Yeah, he was quality. I loved Abraham.
It was just a little wink to the audience that we can have a little bit of fun here without having a comedic character, because he wasn't. He was not. He was no way a comedic character.
He reminded me of like an 80s action star, someone that you'd see in Commando.
Yeah.
Like or even you know, in Predator, the original one with Schwarzenegger. You know, it's got the bloke that keeps telling the shit jokes.
Yes,
it's him. It's him, innit? It's basically that. It's like the 80s.
Give a monkey's left nut. You'd have better luck picking up a turd from the clean end. For me, favourite stroke memorable.
Yeah.
Because there's been plenty.
For me, it was Shane.
Did you just say Shane?
Yeah, for me, it was Shane. That's my apart from Negan.
I was just going to say, as far as memorable characters, and again, that intensity, that exceptionalism of what all these characters bring.
And Bernthal brought it to Shane as well.
Bernthal's always going to bring it.
He brings it, and for me, I think the most powerful Shane moment is when he goes on that raid in that school, and he goes with one of Herschel's family, and you see him come back, you see him in the mirror, you see him sort of picking bits out of his.
He leaves in the doorway in the.
Yeah, he shoots him. Yeah, so he goes out.
Or is that a different character where
So
it's a revolving door?
No, so he basically he goes out on a raid. You don't see the raid. He comes back and he says that one of Herschel's family, I can't remember if it's a brother or an uncle or something like that, didn't make it. And then you see that intensity of him just staring in the mirror, washing the blood off of him, taking bits out of his hair. He's got the chunk of his hair missing and stuff like that. And then you see the flashback and you see that as they're getting away, he just turns around and shoots him. So the zombies go for him so he can get away. And that's when you think, here we go, he's starting to lose it. Because that divide, and what I liked about it was that relationship with Rick. They were such close, such good friends. And from Shane's point of view, Rick was dead to start off with. Okay, he probably shouldn't have fucked his missus, but he was dead. And then he comes back.
You're saying he shouldn't have, but you just said it. He was dead, so why not get it on?
Why not? But at the same time, it's like, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a.
She wanted it,
but that divide that came between the two was so powerful because they were like brothers. It was like seeing two brothers go at it, and yeah, for me, Shane was a standout character, and I like the fact that they brought him back in Rick's final episode. In when Rick was dreaming and having these little flashbacks and stuff like that, they brought him back and they were sitting in the car together having a little chat, and it's almost like they reconciled, but not. So it's almost like they reconciled in Rick's mind, and I love that.
Yeah.
So for me, Shane was was my favourite apart from Negan.
He was a son of a dick. Well, the character would say.
Yeah. Oh, quality.
Son of a dick. And I'll tell you the other thing, Abraham and Glenn, the classic of all time. And I remember the Talking Dead after the episode was hilarious. And there weren't many lighter moments in Walking Dead ever, which was good. The intensity level was there. And I think that's probably why I'm leaning towards Abraham.
Yeah.
As a kind of little tiny little sliver of light. But when he says to Glenn, when you were serving the biscuit, did you know you were going to be making the pancakes? Biscuit. But as he was saying it, you're thinking, oh, did he just say that? Like when you're giving the biscuit, or when you're stirring the biscuit, something like that, or when you're, what was it? Yeah, I'm sure when you were stirring the biscuit, Maggie, did you know you was going to be making the pancakes? The Talking Dead afterwards, and the panel layout was awesome.
I wonder how much of it was the actor, or how much of it was the writers.
I don't know. I it's great. Yeah. I do. Actually, that's a good question. Because great actor. And do you know what? Having said that, Abraham as an actor, I don't think I've ever seen that man in anything else.
No, I haven't. I can't.
Carol?
No.
Daryl?
Oh, I don't know. No, to be fair, no.
I've seen Rick in
done a couple of little things. Rick done Andrew Lincoln done Strike Back, done the first season of Strike Back in the day.
Before Love Actually.
I didn't even know he did that, to be fair.
Yeah, he's the one. Is it Love Actually where he's holding up the signs? He falls in love with Keira Knightley.
Never seen it.
He looks like a 12-year-old boy, like she always does, and you think, he's a good-looking guy. Why is he falling in love with her?
You getting jealous?
Yeah. No, I'm not actually. What of Andrew? I'd rather go out of Andrew Lincoln. I think Keira Knightley. At least he's got an adult body.
Yeah, we're not going there.
Go there, Space Wizard.
We literally said that at the same time. We're not going there.
Go there.
We're going off track. So, time for favorite episodes. Back on point. Favorite episodes. You want to go first?
No, go on. You go first.
So, for me,
Dick.
it's the two-parter, the season 6 finale, season 7 premiere. So that's Negan's introduction, them all kneeling down, and him taking them out. That for me was powerful fucking TV, especially the season 7 premiere. So once he does Abraham, once he does Glenn, once he takes Rick on the RV, gives him that tour, then makes Rick about to cut his hand off. That episode was intense from beginning to end.
I agree.
Yeah.
But predictable.
Very predictable, but nonetheless.
One of my favourite episodes, because I knew you'd go that way.
Yeah.
One of my most memorable moments watching weekly this story unfold. I think it might have been the first episode of I think it was series 2, where they're stuck on a highway.
Yeah.
Traffic, and they have to clamber underneath the vehicles as a horde comes through.
Yes.
And the tension in that episode was brand new to me. It was brand new. They'd introduced us to all these characters and put them all in a situation where I thought, shit,
yeah,
anything could go on here. Anything.
Yeah.
The way they set it up. I think the old boy was on top of the RV and all that. It was back in those days. Apart from that, one of my all-time favourite episodes is Rick and Daryl when they first meet Jesus. And it's so where they're in the van. And there's that Tom and Jerry episode. It's a very, very light-hearted episode where at the end of it, the van ends up in the swamp.
Yeah.
Jesus gets them both.
Yeah.
There's no kung fu. It's just he pulls a fast one. I thought that was a glorious episode.
Talking of Jesus.
Again, that was a bit of light. I think, you know, you get buried in it all. And it's all great, don't get me wrong, because I followed it from day one. I love it. But when those episodes come along, I think why I enjoy them so much is because you've got to be so careful that you don't make the whole thing stupid.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I don't know if I'm explaining myself quite.
No, you are. Because
they had just the right measure of a buddy movie kind of vibe going on with Rick and Daryl in that van, and Jesus, this off the wall character, which you don't see. It was only his kind of like cameo.
Yeah.
But I think they pitched it so. I think they.
Yeah, no, that episode was nice. I remember that episode actually.
From the comics to do that episode, or whether it or not it was ever in the comic. I just thought it made an episode of TV. And another thing for me is if you'd have tuned in that week, you could have got a lot from without having an intro and last week or up to now or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
You could have got so much in that episode and introduces a new one. And the van sinks in the swamp at the end.
Yeah.
So let's don't accomplish anything.
Exactly.
It was a proper cartoon. It was like an old Roadrunner or something, or an old Tom and Jerry. It really have a vibe.
And I think as well, whilst we're on the subject of Jesus, because I was about to mention Jesus actually.
What you mean, the character in Walking Dead, or
the character in Walking Dead? We're not going that route. Character in Walking Dead.
We don't go there, Space Lizards.
We don't go there.
Quickly, just very, very quickly. Do Space Lizards have a religion?
No. No, we don't. We move past that.
You've seen. You
I
have seen.
seen what I have seen.
Seen. Which is the universe.
Exactly.
The beyond, the world beyond. No, it's
Oh, we might go there. But talking of Jesus, another highlight for me, and I don't want to say it's necessarily the favorite episode, but the moment I didn't see coming was in series 9 when it's Jesus and there's a couple of others, and it's at night, and the horde of zombies isn't moving the way it normally moves, and you know there's something wrong, you know there's something afoot, and at the time I didn't know anything about the Whisperers, and they go to that graveyard, and Jesus starts taking them out, and then all of a sudden that zombie just suddenly ducks and stabs him. That shook me because I was literally just jumped. I was sitting back going, "Oh, this is cool, go on, Jesus," and then you're just like, "What? Hang on." And I remember pausing it, not believing what I just saw. I thought I missed something, and I remember rewinding it and then watching it again, still not believing it, rewinding it and then watching it again, because that threw me completely off guard.
Yeah.
And that was what an introduction to these new bad guys. What an introduction.
Yeah.
Fucking quality.
They were very, very worthy.
Big time. Big time. Big time. Another favourite episode of mine is the season 2 finale when the swarm attacks the farm.
Yeah.
That was nice. So Shane had already died in the episode before, but in the opening of the season finale was when we find out what that scientist said to Rick in the CDC, that it doesn't matter if you get bitten or not, when you die, you will come back. And Shane was the first one that we saw of that.
Yeah.
And then the swarm comes in, they all get split up. You think they're all going to die. And it was the first big swarm that we'd seen attack, really. Like we'd seen like swarms come by and, you know, a couple of little swarms here and there, but we had never seen a mass onslaught like this before. And for me, watching it, that mass onslaught for the first time on this farm where it's so open, of all the places you could be, they're on a farm that's so open, and there's nothing to stop them really. They're just coming at the house, and you got the barn, and oh mate, that episode was epic. And then when you think certain characters are trapped, I think it was Andrea that was trapped actually, and then she gets out and then she's running on the car. You've got Carol that was trapped at one point. You got Maggie in that, and that's when Maggie starts to come into her own and she's fighting with her sister as well. Beth, was it her sister? Yeah, Beth as well. Oh mate, that episode was a standout as well. I really enjoyed that. And another early on episode was when the governor attacks the prison. He cuts Herschel's head off.
Oh yes,
that was another moment that choked me up.
Those first few series, and it did. You know, I haven't ever done the head count of major character equation, but from series 1 onwards, the amount of major characters that kind of bit the dust went like that.
Yeah.
You did go, because, you know, certainly the first 3 series,
everyone was dying left, right, and centre.
Every week, I was thinking, who's going to get it? Like, no one was safe, and it really did. You kind of knew that Rick was never going to get it. That was the thread. That was the one line that.
Everyone else was game on.
That wasn't. They was going to use his character to create tension in other ways. Like his decisions were going to create tension within the group and etc. You know, everyone was very, very, I think, very, very particularly thought through as a soap opera kind of thread, a trope to use, but nevertheless a potent tool to use. It's genre, but it needed a heart to it. And him and Carl and Laurie, and when she went, and then years later, Carl goes, you know, the impact of that.
Yeah, massive impact. Massive impact.
And I think that, you know, something we was touching on earlier with the exceptionalism of character. So when Rick went, it was such an exceptional character, such a massive. The ensemble around him, Maggie, massive character, developed into a massive character, and Negan and et al. All these massive characters. What I thought in later series didn't make me hate it. It just means that it lacked something. Is that there weren't, Jesus was quite an intense character.
Yeah, he was quality.
And when he went, it was like, I've got to admit, I thought, oh shit, I didn't expect that.
No, I didn't.
Because he was such an intense character. Like if Negan had died, if one of the of Rick's crew had done away with Negan, it would have been, oh fuck, I didn't see that coming. But that's what the later series were lacking.
Yeah, they got very protective of the characters, especially season 11.
They was all kind of
the last time they really did it.
very
The last time they really did it.
like,
The last time they really did it was the end of series 9 when they were with their heads on the spike. That was the last time the last two, season 10 and 11, we didn't really see that many deaths.
I agree, but they weren't. And I was shocked in and of itself the amount of heads on those spikes.
Because you had like Enid on there, you had loads of random characters on there.
Random, that's the word.
Yeah,
not an exceptional, powerful. It wasn't. It resonated for a moment. I'm not saying it's crap. It makes me sound like I'm nitpicking and I'm kind of slating the series.
But you had that because Tara was on it as well, wasn't she?
No way. I'm in no way doing it. But by that point, Tara, I kind of remember her.
Yeah.
But the characters we've been talking about thus far,
none of them were there.
Are so more powerful than that.
Oh, massively, massively.
You know, like I say, when Glenn and Abraham got it,
yeah,
they were both powerful characters that you were going to miss, and you thought, no, it can't be Abraham. Well, certainly it can't be Glenn. It can't be Abraham. It can't be him. It can't be her. It can't be that.
And it weren't dignified either, was it? And I think the fact that
you think, oh, who can't it be? Oh, it could be any one of them.
But the fact how gruesome
when they're walking along the railway track.
Oh, bloody hell.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can't remember because in and of itself, that was a powerful scene. And you know something's going to happen because...
Talking of that railway track.
They're all walking down the railway track and having a bit of a laugh and a joke. It's all a little bit calm and everything. So you're thinking, what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Talking of that railway track, I think that was the worst season. Talking that railway track, it was series 5, so you had the highs of 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then series 5,
a lot of talking.
series 5, and they're all trying to go to Terminus, and it turns out it's them cannibals, and it literally just ended like that straight away. And it was just like we have spent 14 episodes getting to Terminus.
Yeah.
Then when we get there, it's all said and done in 2 episodes.
I agree, but like we said before, it was still head and shoulders above anything else that was on at the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Genre TV just wasn't doing that.
No.
And I do think that was stretched. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to defend it completely. I'm agreeing with you, but nevertheless, I was still enjoying it every week. I've got to admit, there was nothing like it. I just used to sit down on a Monday at 9 o'clock and I wanted it.
I must admit, another episode I liked as well was the actual season 10 finale. Before they did they batched the COVID episodes on. It was called Certain Doom, and it's when they're trapped in a hospital, and it's the final confrontation with the Whisperers, and then they get out, they fight them all, and then they walk them all over the cliff. They all go over. They send them over the cliff. That was, and then the random thing as well with like Beta. They remove his mask, and it turns out it was some sort of rock star.
Yeah.
From before, like a country singer.
Actually, that was nicely done.
Yeah.
That was really left field. That was.
The quality, though. It was quality.
Yes. Really, really left field.
Yeah, it was really good. And
I enjoyed those Whisperer.
Yeah. Yeah, those Whisperer ones were quality.
The actress that played
Samantha Morton.
She owned it.
And I like Lydia as well, her daughter. I liked how they played Lydia's character.
Yeah, she hasn't had a bad arc as it goes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the last episode I want to give a little honourable mention to is Rick's last episode when he's on the bridge.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, oh fuck, because no one knew what was going to happen. I was watching it thinking, what is going to happen? He's he's hallucinating. He's on death's door. He's now on this bridge. Now he's gone. And then all of a sudden, this helicopter picks him up and takes him away. And they've kept that mystery. And obviously, we'll be coming back to it. They've kept that mystery and kept fans guessing for years now. But the fact when that helicopter goes over the horizon, then you see all the trees grow, and it goes 6 years later. That for an ending of an episode. Yeah, and then Judith comes along, like growing up with a little samurai sword.
That's a good
yeah. For the end of that episode, mate, I was just blown away by that.
Yeah.
And it keeps you intrigued, and it makes you want to tune into next week, or continue to the next episode. And that's what they've done so well all the way through. Yeah. There was always some sort of intriguing factor, not like this, the shit that we've got now where it's, oh, you watch that one. Oh, what's going to happen next week? Oh, she's going to go to a wedding, is she? Oh, great.
We don't go there, Spacey.
We don't go there. What? So more of yours then. What more of your favourites?
What episode wise?
Or moments, or
no, I think I've kind of been like Laurie's death. I think it was more of those, and they are the kind of more soap opera episodes. Like for pure genre tension, like I say, I think it was first episode, series 2, under the wassets and all the zombies coming. Glenn under the bin.
Yeah.
That episode, fuck.
Yeah, that was good.
And how they done it. And I think they just about got away with it. They just about, because I thought, well, if he lives through that, but how they did it, yeah. But other than that, I think it was the poignant, it was the human. The human episodes, and
it was like the governor, wasn't it? When the governor loses and he goes off and meets that family, and then he's off with that family for a little bit, and then he comes back. Like the human side of it. Like, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a great episode, but not one of my, not one of the standouts. I'll tell you one of the other ones in the silly season that they did through the pandemic ones, with Daryl and the cabin in the woods.
Yes, yeah.
I just thought
it suited Daryl's character, though. That's why it worked.
And again, and now I'm only just realising that was a bit of a light-hearted. It had a kind of a human centre to it, but it was quite light-hearted in the grand scheme of things, because it's Daryl leaving the fish outside the cabin and her, like an unrequited love. So it is quite a lighter, it's a lighter tone of an episode. And we all know the constraints they were under. And I've got my favourites and my not so favourites. That's one of the, a very, very controversial scene, but not their fault.
No.
Not their fault.
Well, it was 6 episodes bolted onto the end of season 10, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's not their fault. We have had a conversation, we've kind of discussed that. But yeah, as far as episodes go, they're the ones that resonate for me. The ones.
But it just shows how rich the world is of characters. Like, again, you look at some of the other shit going on, and you might have one intriguing character, and that's a big emphasis on the might have one intriguing character.
Yeah,
and with Walking Dead,
in a way, there's every series will have 2 or 3 favourite episodes, like the highlights. It will peak at a certain point. and there are the classics, you know, the end of series, you know, like Negan turning up and with the
Yeah.
and all the rest of it. I can't think of any of the other mid-series cliffhangers because it got to a point where for a good 2 or 3 years they were doing that, weren't they?
Yeah, mid-season cliffhangers, and then yeah, it was just sort of like leaving you on a knife's edge, waiting for more. And again, that's that.
Particularly some of the prison episodes, like particularly Laurie.
Yeah, but even going back to those prison episodes and talking about, you know, Rick being the character that makes you think, what would you do? When they go to that prison, they find the prisoners. He makes them live in another cell block.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because he doesn't know them. And you know he's putting them in danger by doing that, but at the same time, he doesn't know them.
No, yeah, exactly that. And
So
what was intriguing about the early series was the fact that it was always human on human, which
yeah,
was worst horror.
yeah,
I think it, to be fair, I think it maintained that, unless you disagree. I think it maintained that throughout the entire series.
yeah.
The fundamental of the story is we do worse harm to each other.
You know, the zombies is a backdrop, isn't it?
And not out there biting our heads off.
Mm.
We do worse harm to each other.
I mean, the zombies are a backdrop, and
Yes.
I mean as well. Again, so something that we haven't spoken about is the first episode, the very first episode. So we've mentioned it about how it starts in a hospital and this and that, but in terms of sort of comparing it to what we see now in the first episode and what the first episode of Walking Dead was, he wakes up, the zombie apocalypse has already happened. He gets out of the hospital, he ends up in a tank, and he's surrounded by that horde. And that is how you deliver a pilot episode to get people coming back to your series.
Clue what's going on, have we?
No, but it's intriguing.
Click clopping into the what's it?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely spot on. That from the very first episode, when I finally sat down and watched it, I was like, why haven't I not watched this a couple of years ago? Like, it's from that very first episode, and there was no reason why I hadn't watched it. I'd always wanted to watch it. There was just always something else, or too busy, or whatever. But as soon as I sat down and watched it, I was hooked from that very first episode, from the moment he wakes up, and yeah, straight away in from the very beginning.
and isn't there something to be said about the concise the conciseness of those earlier series?
Well, season 1 was only 6 episodes.
6 episodes, right? But how good is it if you're getting the I'm trying to think of what I jumped on late. I think it might have been Better Call Saul, actually. But you know, when like, no, I tell you what it was Breaking Bad.
Yep.
Everyone was raving about it. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I have watched it and I love it. But I didn't watch it from day one. And I think it was on like series 3. But there was a lot to get through.
Yeah.
A lot. And
yeah.
the format of this stuff now means that you can't, you know, it's like a novel, it's like a series of novels now, where you can't just buy the latest novel that's come out. You can't buy the latest Harry Potter. You've got to buy the other 4 that come,
Yeah.
the 5th one. With Walking Dead, I think somehow, where they were small, it helps.
Yeah.
To jump in. You think, oh yeah, the format of everything at the moment, streaming.
It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. And
it worked big time.
I'll tell you what, it was fresh.
Mm.
When it first came out, and I will still say now we're talking about it, discussing it, and we're pondering. It is still fresh.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's been anything like it.
In and of itself, yeah, it is.
I don't think there's been anything like it.
Without the spin-offs.
and something that maintained its momentum, because if you look at it, to take away 9, 10, and 11, let's just say take away 9, 10, 11, right? And when a show's hitting its peak at series 7, when Negan comes into it, and it continues that into series 8, then it continues it again into series 9, and it keeps going. How's it doing that year on year?
Yeah.
Getting better.
7 is the last series. Wow. That's some going.
Yeah, that's a lot going. So it's 177 episodes by all said and done. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else has done that?
Some old stuff has. What's that?
I know you like Stargate.
Yeah, that done 200, over 200.
Right. So that how many? But how many series? How many years?
It was 10 seasons, 22 episodes a season.
Yeah. So
it had more episodes per season,
yeah,
basically.
so shorter span of time.
Yeah.
But anyway, but Walking Dead is in there, isn't it? Like you think of how many hours of TV.
It's up there with the top shows of all time for me. It's up there with the top TV shows.
Definitely for me.
I'd even argue being in.
I'm so glad it was a worthy finale.
Yeah, and that's what I was so worried about was, we know there's more to come, which we'll get onto in a minute.
That last series, it was sucking hard, some of them episodes. But that's a post-pandemic Hollywood thing that, thankfully, for the final 6 episodes, they just dug their heels in and they all went, we can't do it, because the rest of that series, they were doing it.
They could have easily condensed it down. It was 24 episodes, wasn't it?
It changes. It just switches up a gear. There was an episode that sucked so much arse, where I think it was Rosita actually, or a couple of the women characters, and they went out of a house and they done like a horror episode. They done like a horror film episode.
Yeah.
Stuck in a house, and they went out with swords, and they was going wah wah, and it was like horror film. And then they come back through the front door, through the hordes of zombies, and they go wah. You know, the two heroes with their swords, man.
It was like the one when they go on the day out with it, and it ends with them looking at the horses. They're trying to find the horse.
Fuck yeah, I forgot that one. I deleted the Horse Whisperer episode.
But to be fair, so let's just talk slightly about the wider world, just slightly, just for a little bit. So, Fear the Walking Dead is the main one I want to focus on. So, we're talking about the time span that Walking Dead's been. It's been 11 seasons. Fear is about to start making season 8.
Wow!
What spin-off show has got to 8 seasons? And I know you haven't seen all of Fear, which is why we won't talk about it too much. But Fear, for me, from season 1 up to season 4, it will never be Walking Dead, but it's been a worthy spin-off. And there's a moment in Fear the Walking Dead that for me is up there with my all-time Walking Dead moments. And there's some really good characters. It was with Alicia in the bunker in season 3, and when there's the oxygen running out and people have got to die and they do a lottery and it's hardcore. And it ramps up a notch. Series 4 was the transition series where they sort of go away from the original characters and they bring in new characters. Morgan comes into it, so Lenny James comes across. He comes into it. And it sort of revamps it and revitalizes it, and it sort of goes on a sort of a different path, and then it gets darker again, and then something happens at the end of series 6. Do you mind spoilers, or are you going to watch it?
No, go on. Go for it.
So at the end of series 6, a nuclear bomb goes off.
Why'd you tell me that?
Right. So series 7 is this, like, not only have you got the zombies there that are now like fucking radioactive, you've got this backdrop of this nuclear apocalypse and this radiation in the air that's going on, and it's a very interesting.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
It's really interesting. My only criticism of Fear is that they've gone down the same road as season 11 of The Walking Dead, where they've got very precious with their characters. There's two characters that are long running characters. So you've got Victor Strand and Daniel, the old guy.
Yeah.
They should have been killed off, and they weren't. They're still kicking about, and it's like their arcs were complete. Their story arcs. There's nowhere for them to go now. There's no reason for them to be hanging around. Just get rid of them. But overall, Fear as a spin-off is still better than most things out there.
Yeah, it has been a worthy spin-off. I think it was just a bit. I think the only thing I can put my lack of, like, I dropped off. Fear was good.
Mm.
I can't slate it, and I can't tell you why I don't continue to watch it.
Mm.
I don't know if it's because I'm all zombied out, a bit like
Maybe.
a bit like the superhero fatigue.
Mm.
I think after Endgame, the first thing I said, exiting the cinema with my son after Endgame, was, "That's enough for a little while now."
Yeah, and good God, there's no worthier statement than that after the Marvel, is there?
No,
Bloody hell, I wish they ended it with Endgame, man. Fuck me.
You know, we've had 2 or 3 films a year, and they've been more or less superb. That's enough for a little while.
Yeah, leave it behind.
I mean, in a way, I'm not, and I don't mean this harshly. Luckily enough, the pandemic come along and give us a little bit of a break. But I don't mean that in a bad way. People had to die to give us a rest from dismal minus.
Silver lining to the pandemic. Fuck me.
Thanos agreed with me, and he snapped. Oh, come on, come on.
Oh shit!
Oh, we need to keep on the tracks, don't I?
Yeah, we need to keep on the tracks, man.
But no, so it was fatigue. So with Fear and the other one,
Well Beyond,
which
Well Beyond, Well Beyond, I've got
episodes go.
That Well Beyond, I've got
that was
Well Beyond.
Who does Walking Dead?
Yeah, Well Beyond is something that. So I've watched it all. Well Beyond.
Cool. Good luck to you.
I know. I was determined, right? And I was fucking determined.
But you aliens can do that. You've got a different kind of. You've got.
Yeah.
How many brains have you got?
I've only got one, but it's quite large considering the size of my head.
That's what she said.
But Well Beyond it definitely ramped up in season 2, and there was a lot of stuff about the CRM, and Jadis was in it, and there's a few nice little bits that sort of
great actress.
Oh yeah, really great actress. Fuck me. But
does she have Oscar or BAFTA or anything yet? An Emmy?
Probably she
must have awards because she's
definitely going to be up there. But overall, it gives little insights into the world that Rick is in basically. But it did ramp up the issue, and there was some nice little bits that they did. There was some nice little character points, but the main issue was that 3 main characters are just all despicable. You can't get behind them. They're teenagers. It's not grown up, and it is, like you said, CW does Walking Dead. By far the weakest one of all the Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, but Fear was good though. I did Fear, but I still think it was the fatigue of it all. It was too much. Like it dilutes everything. You can't tell. You can't tell me that doing 2 or 3 different series of one theme doesn't dilute the overall thing
massively. But saying that,
characters you become interested in.
Yeah, and Morgan for me saved Fear the Walking Dead.
What's that?
Morgan for me saved Fear
Yeah.
massively. He's such an intriguing character, such a good character. And Lenny James is such a great actor.
The woman in it, in Fear the Walking Dead, the woman, the mum, the Meghan
Yeah.
Markle, I loved her. She was so fierce. That
And I've told you, I don't want to give away spoilers, but I've told you
of the
that's why you need to watch. That's why you need to keep watching.
I did enjoy it. So perhaps now Walking Dead's done, and before all the new stuff comes out next year, perhaps it's time for me to drift back onto, because I drifted off of it when the bird with a camera in the armored car.
Yeah, Althea.
Series 4.
Yeah, beginning of series 4.
That's when I drifted off. Not because I weren't liking it. I don't know whether other stuff was coming out or whether I just wanted to live my life or I took up a sport. I don't know what happened.
You definitely didn't take up a sport. Come on, are you kidding? Come on.
You're right. You're right. Oh, what was I going to do? What was I going to
do? Exactly. But
what are you going to do? Eat pizza?
But for that particular reason of what you said about the mum character, for that particular reason is why you need to start watching it again.
You're telling me what to do?
Yeah. But like you say, there's new stuff coming out next year. So we've got Fear the Walking Dead season 8 is out next year. We've got the follow-on shows from Walking Dead. Now, so we'll go before we go into them. I do just want to say one little thing about how they've announced it. I wish they fucking didn't announce it because, okay, so Rick and Michonne, okay, you can announce that one, and that is going to be 6 episodes, nice, short, sweet, concise, coming out next year. Great. Rick and Michonne, they've been away from the main series long enough.
That's music to my ears that they're doing short format.
Yeah, short format, 6 episodes. Yeah. Bosh. That's great. You can announce that one because that gets people excited. Oh, Rick Grimes is coming back, and we knew about that. But when it comes to the other shows, Negan and Maggie show and Daryl's show.
Negan and Maggie show.
That's what it is.
I'm sure that's the title.
It's called Dead City.
Ah.
And
there was a punk band called The Exploited in the 80s that did a song called Dead Cities.
Oh, nice.
Anyway.
But what that did for me was because they announced it so long ago, before we'd watched the finale, whenever Daryl, Negan, or Maggie were in peril, I knew they were going to survive.
Oh, I see what you're getting at now. Yeah.
So I wish they had announced it after the fact, after we've seen the finale, because that way the stakes are raised. Because when I was watching the finale, I was like, well, I know Daryl's going to survive. I know Negan's going to survive. I know Maggie's going to survive.
Yeah, but did you think any one of them were going to die? I know what you're saying, but the way those latest 4, 5, 6 series were going, do you think they was going to kill Maggie or Daryl?
I would like to have seen one of them, put it that way. But at the end of the day, we're now getting. So the first one we're getting is in May, and that is 6 episodes again, nice, concise, short format. It's called Walking Dead, Dead City, and it's Negan and Maggie in New York, apparently.
That's a great dynamic. What we were talking about earlier, that conversation they had in that last episode, and how powerful it was. You extrapolate that into having to work together.
Again, there's questions straight away. Why are they in New York? Why are they in New York? Questions straight away. That's just an intriguing format. What's even more intriguing, now this is where World Beyond comes into it a little bit. So there's a scene at the very end of World Beyond season 2. And I think I sent it to you actually, where there's this French woman in this warehouse and she opens up a laptop and you've got the scientist there from series 1. And he's talking about variants and how that we haven't seen them in the US yet.
EDC thing, yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about variants and how we haven't seen them in the US yet. An assassin comes up behind her with a gun and basically says, "You're one of the ones that started this. You then made it worse,"
That's it.
and then kills her,
Some of
and
that.
then she wakes up as a zombie, and she basically sprints towards the door faster than anything else we've ever seen. Because it's all done in French, that's telling me that's in France, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. It could be Canada. I don't know. French,
I was
Canadian.
going to say Quebec.
Yeah, it could be Quebec. I don't know. But the rumor is that Daryl's series, again, 6 episodes, is in France.
What's that?
So the rumor is that Daryl's series,
Yeah.
6 episodes, is set in France.
Hmm.
So I have no idea how he gets down his motorbike, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think ferries are going, in post-apocalypse world.
And I don't think they built a tunnel yet.
So I'm not quite sure. So I am thinking Quebec, Canada.
Yeah. So let's not think too much into that.
Mm.
You can do like the format.
Yeah, the format's going to be good.
Looking forward, I mean, I would look much more forward to nice little 4 or 6, even 8 episodes of a Carol and Daryl story, or a Daryl story, or a whatever.
Yeah.
Michonne and Rick, whatever it is, and especially how they left it at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Even if it was episodes, even if it was 6 episodes, and it was Rick's story, then it's Michonne's story, and somehow they're crossing paths but missing each other.
Yeah.
Would be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the last episode, or maybe 2 episodes, and they join up, and
So obviously
another 6 episodes.
Yeah. So obviously the one that we've
A nice way to handle it, I think.
Yeah, so obviously the one we're looking forward to the most.
Very brave.
So it's obviously the one we're looking forward to the most is Rick and Michonne, because we just want to see a bit more Rick. From what we've learned, so obviously he gets taken away. He's deemed as a B, which basically means that you again in World Beyond, you learn that what the A and the B are. You know what the difference is between the A and the Bs. So when he gets picked up and she goes, "I've got a B," you know what that is, and that's basically someone that's going to be useful to the CRM. So he's wearing, in that Walking Dead finale, he's wearing a CRM jacket, and he's got a CRM weapon as well. So that tells me that he was potentially a soldier for them, or part of the cleanup crew. So the CRM send people out to clear areas.
Yeah.
So it tells me that he's potentially a leader to go out and clear an area, but somehow he's escaped. So he's escaped from it, and then in that, as he's writing his little letter to Judith, the helicopter comes down. And he's got to hand himself in again.
Yeah.
So
he's got bare feet and all that in the mud.
Yeah, it's quality. It's quality. So all he wants to do is get back to his family.
That's one loose end. That is one loose end that didn't make my arse itch.
It was good. But the way they've almost set it up, and the city that he's at is Philadelphia in the background.
Is it?
It's Philadelphia, yeah. So
is Tom Hanks still there?
I don't know, mate. Is Rocky still there? Who knows?
These are all loose ends.
Yeah, big time, man. Big time.
And they're itchy.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be an itchy wait, to be fair.
No,
but
it's gonna be a good one.
I'm intrigued with how they're going to, like you say. I think there's going to be. I don't think they're going to be united or together from the beginning. I think it's about how. I think this 6 episodes is going to be how they find each other.
Yeah, good. But I don't want any uniting of anyone. Well, no. Rick and Michonne, I think, working my way back to you, babe, is good within 6 episodes. I think that would be a nice resolution at the end of 6 episodes. But as far as collectively joining everything together, no.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Yeah, definitely.
And don't title. And also, don't do a multiverse.
No. Definitely not. Definitely not. You,
And
you,
I know
zombie Doctor Strange turns up. He's one of the variants.
what I mean is there is some kind of scientific experiment that goes on and it all goes bang, and then they're all back together again and Carl's alive, and it was
No, they won't. They won't be doing that. They won't be doing that.
it,
I mean, I mean, the only thing I can
minus,
foresee, the only thing I can foresee.
dismal minus, just leave Walking Dead alone over there, please. I'm begging.
Well, Walking Dead haven't. Disney haven't got it. AMC still run all of Walking Dead. It's just that Disney miners have the rights to show it in the UK.
Yeah, but look at the state of it post-pandemic. Look at the state of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Just please leave it alone. Do them 6 episodes. We don't. I think what I'm trying to get at is we don't need it all to be explained. Like whatever they're planning at the moment, the 6 episodes of Rick and Michonne, some episodes of Carol, some episodes of Daryl, some episodes of whoever you want to do, right? Series 8 of Fear. What I'm not bothered about is every single strand of every episode of every character all tying together so it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Stupid people.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing
what happens then? I need to know. No,
the only thing I can foresee, is potentially the Daryl series linking in some sort of way, because he's obviously gone off to try and find Rick.
Nice. If it linked, there was a little link, and even if that series was first or whatever one's first, one of the characters, 2 of the characters turns up at the end of one episode. I'm up for that. I'd be yes. You know, Michonne.
I would like to see Rick eventually come back.
And Daryl and Carol and Maggie in one episode.
I would really like to see.
Imagine those 5 characters all linked together by these disparate ideas. But just don't strain it.
Do you know how I think the Rick show is going to end?
Just don't bake the biscuit.
Do you know how I think the Rick show is going to end?
Go on.
I think the
biscuit.
No, he's not. He's going to. I think probably about episode 4 they'll finally meet.
It's going to mix.
They will do to start off with. So they've been looking for each other for a long time. So there's a lot of built-up tension there. And then I've got a feeling at the end they're going to escape and they're going to go to Alexandria, but obviously no one's there because they're in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, we're getting all into predictioning now. Like,
blah,
blah, blah. I'm prepared to just sit back and think, well, yeah, come on.
Yeah, and it'd be good to see Andrew Lincoln on as Rick properly again. Obviously, we've got a little. How excited were we for like 2 minutes? Because we've been saying it before season 11 came out. I hope Rick comes back for the finale. He's got to come back. He's got to come back. They delivered it. As soon as you see him, you're like, oh yes,
so nicely done.
Yeah,
that being,
we're the ones who live. Look at that little narration.
Wondering without just bringing him back to save the last episode, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Do that, did they?
No,
they concluded everything that they built towards, which was glorious, but then kind of went, oh, look over here. We haven't forgot about Rick or Michonne. Dan went off on his motorbike.
Because they easily could have done it. So in the Commonwealth, all the main characters are in peril, and then Rick comes in and saves the day. They could have easily done that, but they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad as well. I agree. And one other thing is that I don't know how far Daryl is going to go on his motorbike without he hasn't even got any spare diesel. Did you notice that? He's just driven off.
Mate, if we're going to go into technicalities, how's he still got arrows there for his crossbow? Come on.
Technicality. They're thinking, well, you're going to need a bit of diesel, mate, for your motorbike. He hasn't got a back. I thought he might be loaded up. Do you know what I mean? Even if he had a trailer behind him, or even if he had those packs on the side.
I'd be interested to see. It'd be interesting to. I don't know if we would ever know, but originally it was supposed to be Daryl and Carol.
Daryl and Carol.
But Carol, but Melissa McBride pulled out, so it's just literally Norman Reedus.
Barrel.
But I'm glad it's not Daryl and Carol in a way.
It's a shame. I am no. Do you know what? I think maybe Melissa McBride. If we're going to get serious, she's either seen the writing on the wall, which is a shit script, or she's just had enough. She's burnt out. She's done that character, and she is a great actress.
Oh yeah, quality actress.
Perhaps she's just thought to herself, "Oh, this is
going
on forever now. This is going on forever." She's probably going. Just
remember back in the day when it was in the prison and they had that flu going around, wasn't it? Remember that? And she took and she took that person's wife or something and then just killed him and burnt them.
Drags the characters. Yeah.
And then Rick banishes her.
Yeah.
Like, but in 3 seasons, by that point, it's probably about 20 episodes deep, because season 1 was 6 episodes, season 2 was 13 episodes. Early on in season 3, so you're talking about 24 episodes in, she's gone from this depressed woman who's just lost her kid, who was previously beaten by her husband, to now just taking people out back and murdering them because they got the flu.
Just didn't give a monkey's left nut.
No.
Son of a dick.
Oh, I miss Abraham.
Yes, he was my most awesomest.
Yeah, he was good.
You can only have one of them. And just summing up, what Walking Dead did very well. And I know we've bounced off a ton of stuff here.
Yeah.
You know, alluded to the comics stuff as well. And what they decided to do was give. How glorious is it that the fans that made the comic a hit, that made the comic popular enough for someone to think, should we do a TV show of this? Just think about it. Let's just take it back a notch. To reward those fans, they decided to give them something different.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about Sandman, and that was my main thing with Sandman and Watchmen. The Watchmen film, we love Zack Snyder, but all he did was a literal translation.
Yeah.
With Walking Dead, the glorious thing about it,
and it's a dangerous move.
You can love the comic, you can love the TV series,
and you get something different each time. But as well, at the same time, it's a dangerous move, because we've had it before when we've been looking at things, we're like, just follow the source material. You don't have to like follow it completely, but just you've got the baseline there. So the details that they've changed is a major risk, because you could incite the fans.
Yeah,
by
drink it in, absorb it all, and then go, right, we've done this, like with Daredevil or Punisher, boom, following.
Yeah.
But the creators behind those shows, and I still maintain now the gold standard, and it's going to take a lot of beating. But they absorb enough, and I think that's what the guys behind Walking Dead. What were the original guys behind it?
Nicotero was he was like an advisor.
Yeah,
to start off with, wasn't he?
He was with
Romero back in the day.
Yeah, Romero and Savini, who used to do the special effects. Tom Savini used to do Romero's zombie effects and all that. But like the showrunners back in the first series, they listened and learned and wanted to entertain the core audience, which they knew was there. Because comics popular enough. If this comic, oh my God, look at all these fanboys and girls that love this black and white comic from an independent publisher.
Yeah.
They did it. And look what they did.
Quality.
And all power to them, to be fair.
And it's just, I think the reason why it stands up so high in sort of all-time great TV shows is because of the heart of it, the characters, and the amount of like memorable characters and the depth of each character and how each character is not just a replacement for one that's died earlier on. It's something new. Again, earlier I mentioned Gabriel.
Mm.
So many good, rich characters all the way through. It's not just one. It's not just Rick. You've got Daryl. We've got all the main ones, but then you've got all the other smaller ones, like Lydia, for example. You know, being Alpha's daughter and a whisperer and absolutely petrified. Then her arc moving forwards, falling in love, then getting her arm cut off. You know, just before the finale and all that. There's so many good characters all the way. Even though he wasn't my favorite, even Ezekiel, he wasn't my favorite because as soon as
Nor mine either. To be fair.
because it was just that, you know, when he was King Ezekiel and it's like, oh come on, mate, and he was like, yeah, it's a bit of show, a bit of pantomime, this and that.
It did seem a bit strained, his character, but
Yeah, with the fucking tiger.
it has got better though. His character has got
Massively.
kind of. I think they've realised, this is a bit weak.
Yeah.
Let's
See, I think a good moment for Ezekiel was actually sort of towards the end of season 11 when Negan's on his knees before the firing squad, and Ezekiel's the one that sort of not only is that a great Negan moment in terms of Negan actually getting a bit of a taste of his own medicine, but also a good Ezekiel moment, as you know, he's found his from being that over the top eccentric guy that calls himself king. He's got a fucking tiger. The actual heart of that character is that he's someone that can inspire people.
Yeah.
And the fact that he goes and does that, and he's the first one to step forward and stand in front of Negan, a man that he hates, but he knows it's for the greater good, and he gets everyone in, and everyone does it, and that's when they take him out. That was a great Ezekiel moment as well as a great Negan moment. And like you say, Ezekiel did get better all the way through. But at first, even that, and as I said earlier about Carl, a character I didn't like all the way through. When it come to him dying,
I believe you because I remember when you first started watching it, and you was going, "Oh, about Carl," and I was thinking,
I don't know what it was about him.
Wrong way, didn't he?
Yeah, he was just an annoying little shit. They just wanted to slap him.
Yeah, but I never got that. I never got that right from the beginning. He was just Rick's boy.
It's interesting how different sort of generations look at different characters. Like you saw him as Rick Boy.
No,
I just saw him as
as a human.
Yeah.
As an alien.
I mean,
sometimes you struggle with the human.
I mean, in my culture, he'd have been abandoned at birth.
And don't forget the creation of the eggs. Is it not the female that bites the head off the male?
Well, lots of heads are bitten.
Before the eggs are fertilized
and after.
Anyway, on that note,
yes,
I think that has been a good.
I think that's been a worthy debrief. Obviously,
that's been a good romp and a good overview of. Well, at the end of the day, 11 series, an overview of Walking Dead, in all fairness, could go on for hours. You could do an overview of each season, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's been a human and alien homage to one of the best genre series.
Oh, I'll correct you there. Not even just the best genre series. I think one of the best TV shows I think I've ever watched. It's up there.
Oh, you.
It's definitely up there.
I'm welling up. I know you don't quite. But no, it has been a worthy, and it needed recognizing. It needed recording.
And as well, it just shows that a comic book can be made into a great show, a great TV series.
That's a good point, actually. I know hang on about Daredevil and Punisher, but to be fair,
Walking Dead's up there as well in that same category.
Yes, yeah, I think that needs to be.
It's in that gold standard, even though it's not necessarily considered because it's not superheroes. It's still a comic book that's been turned into a series.
You're 100% right there.
It's in that gold standard category. It's almost in the Hall of Fame of gold standard.
Measure, like anyone who's coming up now, if they're going to do a TV series adapting a comic, or let's just say and a book.
Yeah.
Because I think if we was going to widen this discussion, you know, I could have warbled on a bit more about Sandman and literal translation and Watchmen as a literal translation, and I think we alluded to it, but Walking Dead didn't do it, and I think that was one of its strengths. It took the best stuff of the comics and involved the creators of the comics in the creation of the TV show.
Yeah.
And give us something even better. That bits that, and I reckon they played. You have to play around with this stuff. I bet there was a lot of the stuff from the comics that they just went like that, and they went, "Oh, that don't work."
Yeah.
Or it worked in the comic, and they thought, look, you know, like a bit like the say the Carol character, which is such a strong character, and they've got someone like Melissa McBride acting the role, and they're thinking, we can't kill her off,
but we can kill her daughter off.
Yeah, let's not kill her off, but let's have Carol as she's strong, she's fierce. This woman, this actress, we've got, love it.
All the way through, really good.
And to air it, I mean, obviously I watched it on terrestrial television, and you watched it. God knows how many space stations they bounced the original series off of.
I think that's about 14
years for the sound and vision to travel.
Yeah, worth it though.
Till it got to the planet that you was inhabiting at the time.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah. So on that bombshell, man. That was a good tribute. That was a worthy tribute.
Yeah, I hope so. That was fun.
geekyOlhog's tribute to the son of a dick, Dangleberry, son of a dick. That's gonna be. And don't forget, anyone who's watched it, you imagine anyone who's watched it this far, I'm going to end on, just try and pick up a turd from the clean end. Adios.
Night, darling. Night.
No. Adios.